Welcome back to Inside the Ring, boxing's official show of record. I'm your host, Max Kellerman. That is longtime heavyweight contender Chris Arreola. That's our insider, or as we call him, snitch or informant, Mike Coppinger. And that is Shady McCoy. Yes, the football player, real boxing fan. All right, guys, we have a lot of stuff to get into. Some amazing moments from the Eubank Jr. Benn press conference for their rematch. Let's get right into the lead hook. A lot of news is coming out of the Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn press conference. Here's something making waves out of the presser. Listen to this.
After the fight, due to severe dehydration, I'm put in an ambulance and I have to go to hospital. I was actually so dehydrated that one of the toenails on my big toe fell off. It actually fell off. It's grown back about halfway now. But anyway, I'm in this ambulance.
Jesus, not a toenail.
I'm in the ambulance. And
you still got it?
These scumbags blocked that ambulance from leaving the stadium for 20 minutes.
By the way, this is an intro. I'll keep going because this is all being noted because it's absolute waffle.
20 minutes.
Waffle. Waffle.
I'm laying there in a gurney, oxygen mask on, and the car cannot move. They will not open the gates to let us leave.
I mean, that's a lot there. That's a big, heavy accusation to make of promoter, right? That he blocked your exit to the hospital, especially a combat sport like boxing. That's dangerous. But also Eddie Hearn kind of making fun of, your toenail falling off. The point is not that it's a toenail. The point is that the claim that is being made is that I was so dehydrated, something weird happened to my body. It doesn't matter that it was a toenail. That's not supposed to happen. And this is all after the egg slap incident where Eubank slapped Conor Benn with an egg. It's like WWE style stuff, right? They had a great fight the first time, but let's start with the dehydration.
Yeah.
And
that's big, man.
Like I really hate the fact that weigh-ins are not still day of fight. You know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Originally, well, there's the egg slap from the first.
That was the egg right there.
What?
Oh my God!
Sunny side up
that
slap.
was funny.
Those two guys hate each other.
They hate each other, but like originally, the idea of doing weigh-ins a day before the fight was because fighters were dehydrating day of, and it was dangerous. But all that happened when you moved the weigh-in a day before, and now in the morning of the day before, all that's happened is fighters are dehydrating even more.
Yeah.
Right? That's what's happening. Guys are not fighting in the right weight division. Guys are fighting at middleweight. You know they're walking around over 180 pounds. They're trying to melt off 15, 20 pounds, Mike.
Well, also, Eubank for this fight, he fights at 68, and this fight was at 160, and he had a rehydration clause where he couldn't gain more than 10 pounds the next day. But that's the sacrifice he made, right, for a fight against against Conor Benn, who's a 147-pounder, fought a couple of times at 54, but a much smaller guy.
And by the way, Eubank was a favorite, and Benn fought an inspired fight. What did you think of?
It was a fun fight. It was a very fun fight. One thing that Benn did was the first 4 rounds, he came balls to the wall. He just wanted to win that fight. If he had the energy to continue that fight and that pace, I think you would be able to stop him. But being Eubank is just such a good boxer, and he just adapted so quick in that fight. But it was a great fight. It was a great, fun fight. Especially the last 3 rounds. They were just
it was the
balls
best
to the wall.
version of what that possibly could have been.
Absolutely.
The drama and Chris Eubank Sr. before the fight, and then the inspired way in which they fought, the ebbs and flows. The favorite was in danger at the very end.
Yeah.
Like it could not have been a better version of what it might have been. Have you, real quick before I get to you, Shady, have you ever been through anything like what Eubank is describing, being allowed to exit to get to the hospital?
After I fought Adam Karnaki in New York, in Brooklyn. I had my hands were broken. I wanted to go to the press conference, but they said, no, you got to go to the hospital. Getting out the hospital, it took about 45 minutes just to get out in Brooklyn. But then again, it's traffic, man. You got to. I don't think they were trying to sabotage him, but then again, you got to know the traffic.
In other words, he could be telling the truth from his point of view. Eddie Hearn is saying he's disputing it.
Yeah.
But Eubank could be telling the truth from his point of view. we were not allowed to leave. But it may not be anything that the promoter's doing, because in your case, you didn't want to go to the hospital. You wanted to go to the press conference. They made you go to the hospital, and you had to wait to go to the hospital.
Exactly. Not only that, the traffic was bad. Then once you get to the hospital, it's New York. That hospital.
But are you guys surprised at this? I'm not surprised. If you really watch the build up to this fight, you put the dimension of the fathers at it, right? Going at it. Okay, then you go to the fighters. You could tell some bad tension between them dudes, right? You look at the egg slap, Eubank slap, Conor Benn, and the pissed off version of them two fighting with each other, and then you get to the fight. At the first 4 rounds, Conor Benn was going for blood. He wasn't setting no punches up. It was all haymakers. There was a lot of power shots, and then as the fight went on, you see Eubanks with the experience show. But I love that fight. And everything with the Eddie Hearns, with the egg slap, I'm all for it. That's what boxing needs. We need all that buildup.
You're pluralizing everyone's name. Hearns and Banks. And you're pluralizing everyone's name. There's only one of them. All right, Cop. What are your thoughts on all of this?
Look, I mean, I agree with what you said. That was the best version of that fight. I think it's going to be hard for the rematch to top the first meeting, and if it does, that would be one hell of a fight. Chris Eubank's a lot bigger than Conor Benn.
Yeah.
And I thought he did an amazing job with his jab. It seemed like he figured out Conor Benn over the second half of the fight. Now, can Conor Benn make the adjustments to somehow even the score?
Let me tell you why I do think it's going to be another great fight. I think you throw around the word great, and it was contested at a certain level. This is not Crawford and Canelo, right?
Right.
But it was a world-class level.
Yeah.
It may not have been the highest but it was a world-class level. Sometimes when you get, but it was a great fight. It was a great fight. It's a memorable fight. The crowd was into it. Sometimes you get a blood rivalry, like a family feud, right? I remember when Layla Ali, who had dedicated herself to boxing for years at that point, fought Jackie Frazier. They're looking for opponents because there aren't a lot of female fighters at the time that certainly the public knows. Jackie Frazier wasn't a professional boxer, but she got in shape for Layla Ali, and they fought a tough 10 rounds. Jackie Frazier wasn't supposed to last 10 rounds. She fought a tough 10 rounds because, as Larry Merchant once said about Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, one of my favorite boxing quotes, Larry has a lot of those, they were fighting for the heavyweight championship of each other. Wow. Chris Eubank and Nigel Benn, right? Like that British era of middleweights was so intense that when you get a family rivalry like that, you have Eubank and Benn. They're fighting. Forget about any championship. They're fighting for the championship of each other. Mike, I expect another great fight.
Yeah, and Max, now that you mention it, though, there is more at stake this time because this was a 2-fight deal, so the rematch was always guaranteed. Obviously, you'd have to make a new deal for a third fight. As you know, in boxing, it's always a lot tougher to make materialize if there is a demand for it. And if Chris Eubank wins, I think there's a good chance we see Canelo Alvarez against Eubank next year. Make a lot of sense for Canelo. Coming off the loss to Crawford, Canelo's long wanted to fight in England, or maybe you do it in Riyadh. But Eubank obviously would be into it, and you do it at 68.
And it's a storyline. That's what sports loves. Sports loves storylines, right? You talk about the fathers going at it. Right. And then I look at they hated each other, right? And sometimes you try to sell a fight, and then guys after the fight, they apologize. No, not these two. Everything that they said before the fight, they said after the fight. And that's why it's going to be another banger when they fight.
Not only, what I really want to watch, I really would want to watch is Eubank wins, the Canelo fight with him. That's another thing that would just bring Canelo back into the picture. You know, we got to get him back into the picture. He needs a fight like that, someone like that. You know, fight him in the UK. It'll be a big money-making fight. Why not make it happen?
By the way, I'll give you another one. Terrence Crawford might be, if he continues to fight, might be looking for an opponent. You need a big name to make a big event.
Big market.
While, for example, maybe the middleweights sort things out so that Crawford could maybe do a two-fight deal, right? You beat Eubank, because Crawford would be heavily favored, right? In a big event like that, and then your next fight is for whoever kind of puts those belts together at middleweight. You become the Ring Magazine middleweight champion, first real division champion.
Cooking that thing up over there, Max.
I mean, it could happen.
That could happen. Yeah, that could happen.
The point is, and not to look past Benn, Eubank is the bigger, better fighter.
Yeah.
But we're assuming that Eubank wins. He's the favorite once again for a reason.
I'm betting on Conor.
Guys, this is just one of the great fights coming out of the UK. What do you guys make of the recent revival of British boxing? I won't even call it a revival. I'll say I don't know that British boxing has ever been this big. And of course, Joshua Dubois and Usyk and Dubois, they're doing big numbers, and Tyson Fury and a lot of, not to mention the lighter weight fighters. If you walk down the street in England somewhere, the average person is more aware of boxing than people in the United States, right? It's a more popular sport. What do you make of the revival? Anyone have any theories?
No, what you said is true. It's not a revival, it's a renaissance, really.
Renaissance.
I mean, boxing's bigger than it's ever been, like you said, in the UK. And you saw Chris Eubank taking shots at Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn has a new show on Netflix, and I give Eddie Hearn a lot of credit for boxing being so big in the UK right now. He's done a lot of big fights over the last 15 years. And I've been in the UK 3 times this year already. Like you said, Max, you're right. You go in anywhere you go. Now, look, not the barbershops for me, but anywhere you go, people are like, oh, who's going to win? Eubank, Benn, the taxi
You
drivers.
Simonize your head,
But
yes.
America's just been on a drought. We've been in a drought for so many years, man. We haven't had no good amateurs that are coming out. There have been no big heavyweights that are coming out. So all the heavyweights, they're playing football.
Right.
Playing basketball because they're getting paid. They ain't gonna try to get punched in the head for $10,000.
Can I ask you this though, Max? Do you think it's because over there now they will fight each other? I think in America, some of us, it takes 3-4 years just to get the fight that everybody wants. Where over there, they lining them up and they fighting.
I think that what Chris said is like at the root of it, at the heart of it. If you look at American football, the NFL in the 1970s, if you're an offensive lineman, you're making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year. If you could get a title shot at Muhammad Ali, there might be $500,000 in it for you, right? So there was incentive for big, strong, tough athletes to fight.
Right.
And now there are literally hundreds and hundreds of multi-million-dollar jobs in the NFL, for example.
Yeah,
so the heavyweight division dries up, right?
Yep.
Now you're looking at the lighter fighters in boxing, and for a variety of reasons, which are, I mean, we could do a whole show on why. That's dried up on American television because it's
Stagnant.
for many reasons. But the simple way of saying it is, it has not been exposed to the masses on platforms that are accessible to everybody. So people don't know the fighters involved, which is why Mike Tyson can still spar an exhibition at the age of 55 and it does monster
That
numbers.
was a great history lesson right there, though.
Yeah.
Right? That was like something like what's that called?
What's that called? School? School? Are you talking about school?
No, I'm thinking about a freaking class I had in college. That was pretty good, though. That was like a whole history lesson.
I'm just assuming
It's
you would not
early
have
for-
to go to
it's
you were
early for-
Shady McCoy.
I went to class.
At Pitt, I don't know what they were saying for the star players at Pitt.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Student athlete.
There's notice you weren't a fighter, you were a football player, right?
I could fight, though.
Yeah, but you didn't go into boxing, did you?
I used to box. Not professionally, but I used to box.
Yeah,
but you talked about the money standpoint.
Right.
Boxing is too risky. Boxing is too risky for parents. Boxing is too risky for kids.
Yeah.
You know, the hardest thing about boxing, in my opinion, is getting hit. To learn to get hit. You can learn. I've seen kids that throw beautiful combinations in the bag, but once you throw them in the ring, they get hit. They're like, what do I do?
Yeah, by the way, everyone's like, oh, that's easy to hit the bag, it doesn't hit back. Go hit a bag for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not so easy, actually.
not
Even go
easy.
3-minute rounds on
It's
the
just
bag.
like kids. Kids, you put them in the hit drill. Oh, you're gonna see the ones that are gonna cheese up real quick.
But you said before we were off air, coming into this segment, you were talking about fights that you lost that were fun for you because they were wars.
They're
What
not
was
built
fun
like
about
Chris
it?
Arreola.
Honestly, to me, it may not be fun to another guy, but if two guys find each other and they're just beating the shit out of each other and they're like have a respect for one another.
Yeah.
Like after the round, the guy hit me. I'm like, holy shit! I'm like, good job. You know, you get a sense of respect, and it's fun to me.
It's fun. What's fun about? See, that's the point. Is
The
you
fun-
have to
the
have
fun
a
is that-
screw loose to be a high-level fighter
That's
like
fun,
that.
huh?
Honestly, it's
Like fun, like going to roller coaster fun, or like
It's fun. It's fun like you're experiencing something with someone that only you two can experience.
Okay.
You ain't lying about
You
that.
only could
Well said.
you could only understand what he's going through, and he understands what I'm going through.
Yeah.
That's what
And
I
to
always
me-
liked
to
at
me,
the
it's
end.
fun.
That's what I always liked at the end of fights when fighters come together.
Yes.
You go through it against each other, but you also did something together. You go through it with each other
Yep.
too, right?
It's a sense of respect. It's a sense of like, you know what? No one could take this moment away from us.
right. Okay.
That's a camaraderie. That's the beauty of me and boxing. Of phone booth boxing. Phone booth boxing when you're like both
Right.
inside and just trying to.
So after
Beat the
this
crap out
show,
of each
me and
other
Mike,
up.
we're gonna punch each other in the face. Well, I'm gonna be punching him in the face, and it's gonna be fun for you.
It's gonna be a lot of
But
fun.
the point is also that this is a very wealthy country.
Right.
And a
Yes.
lot of people aren't doing well, and I understand that. But poverty in this country, for most, not for everybody, for most, is not the same as poverty in developing countries.
Manny
for
Pacquiao
example.
coming from.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And so in the lighter weight divisions or throughout boxing, if the heavyweights are taken by the NFL and to an extent the NBA, the lighter weight divisions, to have that kind of mentality that Chris Arreola has where this is fun, that's not for everybody.
Look, Max, two guys that are still fighting in heavyweights, and we're talking about UK boxing. Fury and Joshua, the fight was first being discussed in 2020. I think it's going to happen next year, and I think it's still going to be a massive fight. Maybe even like the Mayweather-Pacquiao effect, where the fight is bigger than ever, even if it would have been a better
Pent-up demand.
Skillful fight years ago.
And to bring it back to what's up with the Renaissance or this birth of popularity, because it's probably bigger than it's ever been in England right now, to bring it back there, in the English-speaking world, there's a lot of money in that world, in the Western Hemisphere, right? If there is a vacuum created in the United States of America, that will be filled somewhere else, right? In this case, that also may have something to do with it. There was a void created in the United States where boxing largely dried up, and it was filled largely by Eddie Hearn and what he's done in England.
But just think, how big is Fury Joshua in 2026? Even with Fury coming off of 2 losses to Usyk, but 2 amazing fights, especially the first fight was incredible. I think it's the biggest fight in British history by a mile.
When that fight airs,
or by a kilometer.
Mike, make sure you let me know though, because I'm gonna empty all my accounts and I'm betting on Tyson Fury.
I think it's a good bet.
Listen, I don't know what it is, and help me out here, because I don't want to be that type of guy, but I got to be that type of guy. I don't see what the super hype is with Anthony Joshua. I really don't see it.
The gold medal.
I see it.
He won a gold medal.
Hold on, let me tell you.
Knocked out Vladimir Klitschko
years ago.
Great heavyweight
years ago, right?
He beat Joseph Parker. I know that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff already.
But when I see him, I see a guy.
He beat Ruiz in a rematch.
I see him quit a lot too, though.
I see Joshua Parker beat him now. Joshua
quit?
beat him now.
He went down swinging against Daniel Dubois. I mean,
man,
when you say
he got his ass beat. Listen,
I don't know about he didn't quit.
That fight, I thought he quit. I thought he quit.
Fight?
I thought he quit.
In which fight?
Which fight?
Against Dubois. I thought against Dubois he quit. How?
I mean,
his brain quit working when he got hit in the head.
He was getting his ass kicked and he's laughing and smiling to the crowd. I'm thinking, like, what? Lock in.
He got knocked out trying to land the big right hands.
Man, listen.
I didn't see Joshua.
All I'm gonna say is, I've been watching Joshua and I'm trying to figure out all the hype I keep talking. I don't see it. I just don't see it.
I just gave you like 5 things.
Man,
I just saw all 5 things.
Shady's mind's already made up.
I just gave you one.
This dude.
He's a body of Tarzan. That's what I always say.
And he fights like who?
James.
Fight like James.
Oh, really?
Dude got muscles in his neck. He got muscles in his eyebrows and can't fight a lick.
Catch our interview with David Benavidez. That's next, right here on Inside the Ring.
Anthony Yarr, he fears no man. He wants David Benavidez, and there's not a lot of fighters in the world that do.
Body shot from Yarr. Shot to the head, down he goes. Solid shot, right hand.
Anthony Yarr.
Bad blood, genuine hatred. Chris O'Connor. This fight living up to all the hype.
Chris Eubank Jr.
Welcome back to Inside the Ring. Max Kellerman, Chris Arreola, Mike Coppinger, and Shady McCoy, and we are joined right now by maybe the most feared fighter in boxing. Ever see Julio Cesar Chavez in his prime? I'm talking about the daddy. I'm talking about one of the greatest fighters ever. This guy is the closest thing I have seen to a big Julio Cesar Chavez. David, I'm not putting the Chavez thing on you. I'm just saying you're the closest thing I've seen to a big dude who fights like that. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction, and thank you so much for the compliment. Julio Cesar Chavez is, somebody that we look up to a lot. He's a great fighter, one of the greatest Mexican fighters of all time, and I'm honored to be, even put in the same category as the great Julio Cesar Chavez.
Hey, before I even get to anything else, David, because when you came up, there was a lot of fanfare. Oh, Canelo's ducking him. This dude's a monster. And I looked and I thought, you had missed weight once. You had looked like a guy with potential, but I didn't see a guy ready yet. And then over the last couple of years, I've seen a guy who looks like he wants to maximize his potential. Am I right or wrong about that?
No, you're definitely right. You're looking at a man that's not going to let anything outside the ring, mess with his game. Since I was 3 years old, I've had one dream only. That's becoming the greatest boxer of all time, and that's exactly what we're going to accomplish. We're almost there, and we're going to keep going until there's nobody left to say anything bad about me.
Yeah, and David, I think you're showing that with who you pick to fight as well. You're trying to chase all the biggest names. I give you a lot of credit for not waiting on Canelo when it was clear that fight wasn't going to materialize. And another tough fight, I think, in November. Anthony Yarde gave Beterbiev all he could handle, hurt him. Gave Sergey Kovalev all he could handle in there. And I expect a big action fight. What do you expect on November 22nd?
Yeah, I definitely expect a big action fight as well. Anthony Yarde is a fighter who's been in there with the best of them. You know, he knows how to he's felt hard shots, and he's been in there with, you know, two of the best Russian fighters of all time, you know, Sergey Kovalev and then Artur Beterbiev. So I'm expecting this man to come 100% ready for this fight. But like I said, at the end of the day, I'm not scared of nothing. You know, I accept and I invite war. You know, so if that's what the people of Riyadh, Saudi Arabia want to see, well, let's give it to them.
I heard that. The Mexican monster is in the building. Happy to have you. I got a question for you, though, a serious question. As athletes, we are defined by our resumes. And I think a lot of people would say Terence Crawford's an elite fighter, pound for pound, but he get the just dues because he couldn't get that fight. He gets the fight with Canelo, he wins. If you ask a lot of boxing fans, they think you are that guy, pound for pound, king of boxing, but you haven't got that fight yet. How do you truly feel knowing that you've been ducked and now you can't get the just dues because you should be the king of boxing?
You know, at the end of the day, some of the greatest things take time. Some of the greatest things in the world take patience. And I've been here for 11 years. I'm barely 28 years old right now, so I know my time is coming. I know with hard work and, you know, and me staying motivated, I know I could be the best in the world, but I just got to wait my time. I think everybody is starting to see that I'm fearless, I'm relentless, and I'll fight anybody to get my respect in the ring.
Yeah, what up, David? This is me, Chris, bro. I hung out with you. I hung out with your brother. I hung out with your pops. You guys are fucking a cool family to be with. Let me ask you, what is the relationship with you and your pops? What's the difference between you and your pops in the gym and you and your pops outside the boxing ring?
There's no difference between me and my dad. Me and my dad, you know, when we get out the gym and when we come in the gym, we've been boxing. He's been training me since I was 3 years old. So I have my whole life. I have 25 years boxing. So our life is boxing. Our life revolves around boxing. But my dad, you know, in my opinion, he's the one of the greatest fathers of all time because, you know, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be in this position. You know, there was a lot of times I wanted to quit on myself, and he had a plan since I was 3 years old, and he's taken us, you know, we've executed that plan perfectly. And without him, you know what I mean, I feel like my dad is the true essence of what a great father is supposed to do for his son. You know, he gave up on himself, but he didn't give up on me. You know, he put every single ounce of energy into me and my brother, and you know, now we get to show the world, you know, what we're made out of.
One of the great things on this family show, it's really a family show, right? Is that we have a guy on the show in Chris who doesn't even know. He dropped an F-bomb and didn't even know we did it. He looked at us, producer got in my ear, let's clean that up. And he's looking around like, what'd I say? It's just the way he talks. David, what were your thoughts on Terence Crawford's performance against Canelo? Look, Canelo never ducked anyone in his career until you got to super middleweight. And he clearly has not fought you, even though you were the number one guy. But otherwise, he's been a guy who's willing to fight everyone. And I have thoughts about that I want to ask you about in a minute. But first, I'd like to get your thoughts on Crawford's performance against Canelo, because he beat you to it. What do you think about how Crawford did?
First of all, I just want to give Terence Crawford a great congratulations. You know, he's reached a part in history that only so many fighters get to even accomplish in boxing. You know, he's one of the greatest of all time. There's nothing, you can't take that away from him. Terence Crawford should be on the Mount Rushmore in boxing, because not only did he go up 3 weight classes, he beat one of the best fighters of this generation. I don't remember any time in history where anybody has come up from 147 pounds and won the super middleweight championship. Not only just won, but the undisputed. He's won every single title. So, you know, that man, not only is he a great fighter, but you could tell in that fight by seeing this combination right now how much of a dog he is. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of fighters could take a lot of notes from Terence Crawford, not only physically, but take notes in the heart aspect. And I give it all up to Terence Crawford. You know, he's one of the greatest of all time. And, you know, we salute Terence Crawford.
Talking to maybe the most avoided fighter in boxing, the monster, David Benavidez. I want to ask you about Canelo, because this is my feeling has always been about him. He doesn't duck, and he will fight you eventually. But I always thought, even though you're Mexican-American, I always thought that he doesn't want to give up that crown until he's ready to go, and then he'll see what you got. So I've always believed he will fight you eventually, but not until he's ready to kind of pass the torch if you can beat him. Is that your feeling? Do you feel, I just want to know how you feel about how Canelo has handled your presence, which used to be right in his division.
So the way I've seen him handle my presence is he's definitely scared of me. You know, if you have a fighter talking so much trash in front of you, why don't you make an example of him to the world? Beat me in the ring and make a whole lot of money. But Canelo Alvarez, as you can see from every time he fights a guy that's big with power, like Bivol, you know what I mean? And he's not able to suppress these fighters as much as he's able to suppress the little fighters. You know what I mean? So he sees a lot of things in me that he can't stop. You know, not only does he see speed, does he see power, but he sees a lot of heart in me. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm going in there and I want to prove myself to the world that I'm the greatest fighter. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't scare me to get in there with another great fighter, because I know that elevates me and who I am as a competitor. So that's I know for a fact that he sees in me. At the end of the day, he should have took the fight with me way back then, because if he had a chance to beat me, it would have been back then. He has no chance of beating me now, especially now. I'm getting all this confidence. You know, I'm stepping into my prime. You know, I'm able to deal with these bigger shows better. You know what I mean? I'm able to thrive in these shows. I'm able to, every time I fight, I'm always winning by a significant amount. You know what I mean? So I'm learning my craft better and better each and every single fight. I'm gaining more confidence every single fight. And like I said, I really want to go in there and hurt people. I'm not a boxer. I'm a warrior, and I go in there, I tear everybody up.
I agree, by the way, with that analysis. I think Canelo's best chance to get you was when you were on your way up. And to be honest, David, I didn't think you took it as seriously then as you do now. The way Floyd caught Canelo on Canelo's way up, now it's more of a problem. One of the things, guys, real quick, no one's ever beaten Canelo with Benavidez type style. The guys who beat Canelo move, right? Who has ever brought it to Canelo, because he's such a great counterpuncher also, and beaten him that way?
David, I got to ask you, bro, before you leave, because all the fans want to know this. Can you still make 168?
To be honest with you, man, let Terrence Crawford live. That's his weight class. I lost interest in 168 a long, long time ago. You know, I mean, I know that we could get offered a lot of money to go down to 168, but I'm more comfortable at 175. I'm chasing better beef. I'm chasing Bivol. You know, I'm chasing these other bigger. I'm chasing Surdo Ramirez at cruiserweight. You know what I mean? So I've been at 168, but I have no interest in going down.
This dude's a maniac. Who's chasing? Who chases better BF than Bivol? Who chases better BF than Bivol?
Hey,
what's wrong with you?
And you're looking at the one that's going to chase all of them. Like, these guys are monsters, but this is a monstrous world. We're going to thrive in this environment.
Hey, look, David, and you mentioned cruiserweight. Obviously, we'd all love to see a fight between David Benavidez and Jai Opetaia. That would be incredible. Maybe I'm crazy, but I've long believed that you could be the first, heavyweight champion that won his first title at what, 68? Would he be the first? Because Roy Jones' first title was at 160.
Roy Jones.
But his first,
I see what you're saying. To be honest with you, bro, I take it one step at a time. Right now, we got the good thing about me and David Benavidez' stock, we have a lot of great fights on the table. And you guys know I'm going to take every single one of them. I'm not going to run from anything because at the end of the day, this is my destiny. If it's my destiny to go through these hard fights and win these world titles, that's what I'm going to do. This is what boxing is about. I'm sick of seeing fighters getting the easiest fights just because they're getting the biggest paychecks. Like, it don't. At the end of the day, it's not even about money. It's about giving the fans of boxing the fights that they deserve. They're paying the money at the end of the day, so fuck, let's go to war. Let's do what these people want to see us do, and let's go to war and may the best man win.
Hey, David. Obviously, we just seen the Terrence Crawford and Canelo. Is that still a fight that you would revisit and maybe go back to the table and try to get a fight with Canelo? Two Mexicans, right? Maybe he's passing the torch to you.
So, I feel like everything that's happening in my career, I'm in a great position in every single way. I wasn't going to go down to 168, but now if Canelo wants to come up, then I got the WBC world title 175. After I beat Bivol, I'm going to have all belts. So after that happens, now I'm the one who has the power. Now I'm the one. Canelo said he doesn't fight. He fights for greatness. He fights for titles. Well, let me go pick up all the titles, and let's come back into the table and talk.
Hey, David, check this out. As I'm sure you're aware, you are the cover boy of Ring Magazine this month.
Look at him.
Unavoidable. And by the way, guys, David, I love the way you did this because, as I told you, when you first got on the scene and rose to the level where you became the mandatory, really, I was like, yeah, but who is he beating? How is he beating them? Is he taking this thing seriously? And since then, you have absolutely erased any doubt that you are that guy. You are the guy the fans want to see, and you have earned it by taking on all comers and beating them up. We look forward to much, much more of that.
And I just want to tell everybody, if you guys doubt me in anything outside of the boxing, never doubt my character, never doubt my competitiveness. You know, I have the spirit of a warrior, and I'm, extremely excited to show you guys against all the best fighters in the world what I'm really made of, because this is what I'm here for. This is my destiny, and I'm not going to stop until that's done.
David Benavidez, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you. And do not miss the Ring 4, the ANB Arena. November 22nd in Riyadh. Benavidez Yard, of course, and Haney Norman. That is a hell of a card. These are fights where even if you have an A side and a B side, you are not so sure who is going to win. On DAZN. Welcome back to Inside the Ring. I am your host, Max Kellerman. That is our insider or snitch or informant. Mike Coppinger. Yes. That is Shady McCoy. You really all-decade, for real, all-decade running back?
Look, this is not surprise news. You know that. Top tier.
Bud you were top tier.
Look, Bud Crawford.
No, calm down. You were not Bud Crawford. But you were good. You were real good. You're not Bud Crawford. But a for real boxing fan and longtime heavyweight contender, Chris Arreola. Guys, Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson faced off on this show, on our show from Las Vegas. They're both 28 years old. They're in their physical primes, it seems.
Yeah.
And they could be fighting. A lot at stake. You know, I once upon a time, because people compare this to the Four Kings era, after Muhammad Ali left the stage, and before Mike Tyson, there was a void that was filled by lighter weight fighters. It was welterweight to middleweight. And the guys they called the Four Kings were Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Marvin Hagler, Roberto Duran. Not necessarily in that order. They leave out Wilfred Benitez because all those guys had at least one fight against each other. Benitez fought Hearns, Benitez fought Duran, Benitez fought Sugar Ray. He never fought Hagler. I think he deserves to be in there anyway. Anyway, people like to look at these lightweights today and say the Four Kings. Now it has to be four for some reason because they did. And they talk about, it's kind of five, right?
Yeah,
you got Shakur, you got Tio, you got Devin, you got Ryan Garcia on this show, and you got Tank Davis. There's five dudes right there.
You're still not counting Tank.
I think so. Listen, I'm not faulting Tank Davis for grabbing for tens of millions of dollars to fight an exhibition. Right? He's still, we'll see if he's still a professional fighter, but he's a top-tier fighter, even though, he lost to Lamont Roach. They called it a draw, but he lost that fight. But so we're in this kind of era, and that only happens when guys will fight each other. And here's Shakur, who's been ducked by everyone, and here's Tio, who makes it happen. He fought Lomachenko. Does this set it off? Does this set off an era in a way? Are we in the middle of it already?
Hard to say, Max. I mean, I thought maybe we were in the middle of that era when Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis fought. That was one of the biggest fights in recent years. It crossed that 1 million pay-per-view plateau, did a major gate in Vegas, but it's been kind of quiet since then. Devin Haney has a good fight November 22nd. You talked about it earlier against Brian Norman.
Actually, Ryan Garcia made it happen again when he fought Devin Haney.
Ryan Garcia, you're right. So, look, Teofimo and Shakur, I think it's a great fight. I think, especially at 140, Shakur will be going up in weight for the Ring Magazine, as you always say, the real championship, which Teofimo Lopez beat Josh Taylor for a couple of years ago. But I still want to see some of these other fights. I still want to see Ryan Garcia against Shakur. Well, that's going to be harder now. Garcia is a much bigger guy. Teofimo Lopez against Gervonta Davis. That might be the best style clash that we talk about.
What I like, what I'm seeing from Tio right here, is Shakur is the guy no one wants to fight. You don't want to fight him because he's not as big a star as Tank Davis, so it doesn't mean as much money. But he's the guy with the best defense, and usually that guy is the hardest guy to beat, right? Yes. Another way of saying that is he's the best fighter, right?
Yeah.
That's another way of saying it. But maybe not the most fan-friendly, so not as big a payday. Tio's the guy who called out Lomachenko, who chased the fight at 100.
And nobody wanted that
and
fight
no one
with
wanted
Lomachenko.
Lomachenko, who chased the fight at 140 pounds against Josh Taylor and won.
Took the belts.
And now he, of all the so-called kings, we'll see who's king when the dust settles. He's the dude who's making a fight maybe with Shakur happen.
Let's just see that fight happen. That's the one thing. That's the only way we're gonna get the four kings scenario. We got to make one fight happen. This started with that fight. I love Teofimo. I love the way he fights. He's a guts and glory kind of a fighter. He's a fighter that's gonna come bring the fight to him. Shakur obviously has a more amateur experience, the most tested fighter. But I'm a Teofimo fan. I like the way he fights. He's a gritty fighter. And I like his dad. He talks a lot of crap, and he's right up my alley.
Yeah, his dad is a street dude for sure.
I will say his pops, I remember when they called out Lomachenko, I said, this guy is crazy.
Yeah.
And he knew something, and they went to get that fight. I love this fight just because it's a real 50-50. People always talk about 50-50 fights. This is a real 50-50 fight. These guys know each other from the amateurs like they talked about on the show. And another thing is, maybe Shakur is probably going to be the favorite because he is that good. But with Tio, every time he's the underdog and it's a big fight, he shows up and shows out. So, if you ask who's going to win this fight, I am not sure, but I'm happy we finally get a fight like this.
And Tio, who has, look, even against Barboza, who was the guy who kind of saved that card? It was Tio. Wasn't an incredible performance, but for some reason, some people were taking Barboza to beat him.
That shocks me, yeah.
A lot of people did, though.
I know, and Tio put that to rest in an entertaining enough style. And Tio can step around. He has not just fast hand, but fast feet. Sometimes a guy like Shakur, who's very tricky defensively, but sometimes when you can give him angles with the offense, that's a little bit different.
Right, and Teofimo Lopez, Max, he's very creative offensively, like you mentioned. The angles, the step arounds, even the combinations, the variety of the punches. He can throw an uppercut, he can step to the side. So, and he has quick feet.
And one thing that he does, I'm sorry to cut you off, that Canelo didn't do, Teofimo knows how to cut the ring off. He ain't gonna let a guy just run around on him. Even if he's a left or right, he's gonna use the footwork right. Teofimo's
He didn't do a great job cutting the ring off, in my opinion, against Sandor Martinez.
He doesn't. But he knows
how
capable.
to.
He's a very capable fighter, cutting the ring off, and it won't let Shakur Stevenson outbox him.
I think he's actually more comfortable as the boxer than the aggressive fighter, or as the guy who moves around. And so I wonder how that plays out. But Shady, to your point, Teofimo always in his career has fought his best fights against his best opponents and his worst fights against the lesser opponents.
Right,
I love to bet. I probably won't bet this fight because it's so close. And the thing about Tio that I do love about him is he can beat you in different ways, right? He can beat you as that counter puncher, or he step on the gas and he'll hunt you down. He's done both. This is so hard because Shakur is so talented.
Here's the problem.
It's tough, though.
Problem. If I force you on a lie detector test.
Okay.
If you lie, if you lie, right? if you lie, the earth is gone.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Who wins, Shakur or Tio? Watch this. My guess right now is it's about to be unanimous. Who wins, Shakur or Teo? You're on a lie detector test.
I don't know that. I can't say that.
Okay. The earth is gone.
No, but
Shady has to front and out.
You gave Shady too much credit for being honest and speaking his mind.
I keep it real. I don't know. Listen, I don't care.
He's not keeping it real right now.
When Tio was there, first of all, I'm cool with both of these.
That's what. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is, Max.
Listen, I don't care about none of that. I'll tell my mom if she's doing bad. You gotta step it up, mom. Listen, I told Shakur, I said, Shakur is probably the most talented to me, right? Yeah. I just feel like he's just God-gifted talented. Mm-hmm. But when I watched him, I felt like Tio is the most complete. Power, can box.
So you really don't know.
Fight on the back. I don't know.
Who do you say, Mike?
I like Shakur.
Who do you say?
Shakur.
I say Shakur too. Now, that's a difference between saying I'm saying Shakur will win the fight. I'm not saying that. I'm saying who should be favored.
Yeah, that's right.
The guy with the best defense usually wins it. But it's what's interesting to me about this is one of the issues this era is facing right now is the other fighters are at least giving the impression that they don't want it with Shakur because Shakur's better than they are, right? Tio, at least, is the dude who says, let's find out. And at least has convinced Shady on this set, who pays attention, I don't know who wins that fight.
Wait, real quick. So you say Shakur because he's probably a better boxer, correct?
I'm saying, why hasn't Tank mentioned his name even? Right?
I mean, but Tank don't mention nobody's name that's an elite fighter. He don't fight no elite fighters. Let's take him out of it.
Okay, but that was the fight that real boxing fans were thirsty for, was Shakur and Tank, right? And it is Tio who is stepping up and making the fight happen, and at least has one person on this panel saying, I don't know who wins that fight.
So with Tio, okay, so there's a point where nobody would even whisper Lomachenko.
Right.
Y'all remember that. Nobody, I don't care who it was. And Tio said, I'm going to fight him. Josh Taylor's another one that was a top dog that he took out. So for him, y'all know.
Two great wins,
real quick,
no question.
But this elite wins, pound wins.
I
For
agree.
y'all to know that, right, that don't worry y'all at all. Like, I think Shakur is the truth. I think Tio's the truth.
I don't know who wins, but I'm saying who I like in the fight. And
This is a hard
who I give the edge to.
Well, you're going to wind up.
I'm not going to bet this fight.
You're not going to bet the fight?
It's too close.
So here's the question.
Too close.
Is the winner of this fight, and maybe it's too early, let's see what happens with Devin Haney and Norman, right?
Okay.
Let's see what happens when Ryan Garcia gets back in the ring. Let's see when Tank is done with Jake Paul, if he wants to get back to being a professional prize fighter in his weight division, all that kind of stuff. But the winner of this fight wins decisively in a really good fight. Is that the next face of American boxing?
no, I say no.
Because?
I think it's going to be David Benavidez. I just do. I think Benavidez has everything. He's charismatic. He wants to fight everybody. He has the fighting style.
Mexican, he
The
speaks
fighting style,
bilingual.
except Benavidez, although his defense is a little underrated. The reason I said he's like a guy who's like the biggest version of a Chavez type fighter that's he takes little half steps back and he's able, but given his style and his size, usually that doesn't last a very long time.
Oh, that's a
right?
different point.
Whereas given the style of Teofimo or Shakur, that lasts a while. That's built to last.
But he is Mexican too, though, and he's bilingual, right? And
That
I think
helps a lot.
A lot.
And David Benavidez, I'm talking about.
Yep.
And I love that
His attitude.
his attitude. He looks so serious, and he wants it.
Yeah.
Right? How many guys just sit out there and call Canelo out and really call Canelo out?
No. Forget Canelo. Everyone wants to call Canelo out. That's the money.
Right.
Who in his right mind moves up a weight division and, as you heard him say here on this show, calls out Bivol and better BF?
And Max, that's real. That's not, a lot of times, and as Chris, you know how it is, a lot of fighters talk, but I know behind the scenes, like Benavidez is actually pushing for these fights, and these fights are going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, this dude is, and now the question is, can he win those fights? That's a whole other, because Bivol is really good, and Better Biev is, even though he's old, is really good.
He's really good.
If Benavidez gets and wins those fights, and then eventually Canelo's going to fight him before he's done, Benavidez, you're right, will be the king of boxing and certainly of North American boxing and the face. I don't know how long that lasts, given his style.
He's only 28.
Eventually, right?
He's young.
But even so,
You're saying the
those
wear and
guys,
tear.
like Shakur's style is built to last a long time.
He got a good
Because he's
look
not
for him.
going to take as many
he's-
punches, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, even if Benavidez is next, if we say the eventual, if I change the question to the eventual face of American boxing, could it be one of the 4 or 5 or however many lightweight-ish kings?
And then honestly, I thought Ryan was going to be the face of boxing at one point. I was really waiting for. I was really hoping that Ryan was going to do it.
Ooh,
I was. You know,
okay,
at the end of the day, he does make numbers.
I like Ryan.
Does he do numbers? He does
Yes.
do numbers, but he didn't perform like we thought he was. He didn't beat Tank like I personally thought he was going to beat Tank.
This is week 2 in a row, Chris, where Mexican on Mexican crime. Last week it was Canelo. This week it's the guy that sometimes is in
can't
that
even go
chair,
home.
Ryan Garcia.
No cookouts, no nothing.
But no more
Chris
tamales
keeps it
for me.
real, though.
Hey, but Max,
like it.
I can see him being Shakur's era, though. I can see him being the face boxing, right? He has the look, he speaks well enough, and his style. He's going to be fighting for a long time.
Okay.
And one thing about this, I think Floyd has started that when you win and you start talking a little trash, people love to see that. And then people start to watch you because I want to see you lose eventually.
Exactly.
I can see Shakur being the face of
If a
boxing
guy
if he wins
takes
his
care
fight
of himself,
and keeps going.
If a guy takes care of himself and he's the blue chip guy, he will. Cream eventually rises to the top.
Yeah. Right.
So someone like Pernell Whitaker, who is better than everyone, did not take care of himself, and therefore, even though he's one of the greatest fighters ever, wasn't still good and it wasn't still great in his mid-30s, right? If Shakur takes care of himself, that is going to be and can keep winning. He will force people to acknowledge him that way.
Are you naming
Max,
this
glad we got
decision?
that in, by the way. Pernell Whitaker mentioned. I'm glad you got that in
Right
today.
there. Yeah. He's right there. They
No,
hit
real
him
quick.
behind.
Look, but I wanna-
They hit him behind but there's a Pernell thing right there.
But
right
to be
over
clear, Max, when you say the face of boxing, what I take it as is, all right, you're the guy that's fighting twice a year, Mexican Independence Day weekend in September. You're fighting on Cinco de Mayo. You're selling out arenas. You're doing big numbers on, in viewership, whether that's pay-per-view or Netflix otherwise. And to me, that's got to be Benavidez. I don't see that being any of these other guys.
One thing I will say
point,
is
Mike.
be careful about thinking the next guy is going to look like the last guy.
Sure.
So, for example, if I would have told you guys 15 years ago, the biggest fight in boxing in this era is going to be between an African-American junior lightweight who didn't win a gold medal and is not a big puncher, and a Filipino kid who doesn't have any medals, forget about it, right? And was started out as a flyweight champion. You'd say you're crazy. But that was exactly what the new Ali Frazier or Leonard Hagler fight was, right?
Great point.
Benavidez
You're right. Fair enough.
has a real shot, but we should be careful not to think the next guy will look like the last guy. He might not. Things change. All right, coming up,
Good point.
we discuss the current state of the heavyweight division. Keep it here.
It's a bad man right there,
Inside the
though.
ring. Woo, you ain't lying.
Duran boots Eddie.
Big clubbing left from Usyk, and Chukazan is down.
Professional championship style beatdown by Boots Ennis, man.
The defining win of his career.
The White Rhino seems in a really happy place.
Welcome back to Inside the Ring. All right, state of the heavyweight division, guys. The way this works is Shady has a wheel of heavyweights, I understand, Shady. You're going to hit a button, you're going to spin the wheel, is that right?
That's right. We got the right heavyweight for this segment.
Okay, all right. Well, let's see how this works. Go ahead, hit the button.
You ready?
I'm ready.
You ready? Let's get it.
We're going to see it up here, right over here?
Okay.
Jump.
Let's
All right,
go.
all
We
right,
got
wheel
we
of
got.
heavyweights. Wheel of, hey, who's on this wheel? Wheel
That was
of
a false
heavyweights.
start on the first button push.
Oh, my boy, Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury fights again in 2026. True or false? Mike Coppinger.
I say 100% true. I think it's a formality at this point. Fury's going to fight again. He took 2025 off after two very tough fights, get his body back together. I spoke to Fury just last month, in July, the day before it was the morning of the Usyk Dubois fight, and he said, I'm going to be back, and I think Fury's going to have to fight Joshua. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get a win in first, and then Joshua Max.
My favorite informant, baby. Hey, real quick, boxing's better when Tyson Fury's involved.
I agree.
100%.
Right?
But you know what the problem is?
Come on back.
Here's the
The
problem with
Gypsy
Tyson Fury.
King.
Tyson Fury, who's a great heavyweight champion. I don't just mean he was heavyweight champion, which he was. He was a great heavyweight champion. There's a difference.
great.
Not every heavyweight champion has been a great heavyweight champion. I think he was one of them. But he loses to Usyk in the first fight. In a fight where he started dominating and
playing
playing
around.
with him.
Come on.
He was playing with his food. And Usyk made another adjustment because that's how great Usyk is.
Great.
And then the rematch, and Usyk wins that too. It is difficult to, like Tyson Fury, the thing about him was he was the best in the business.
Yes.
A post-Tyson Fury as best heavyweight in the world era feels a little different to me, Chris.
It feels very different just because, he was the king. He is the Gypsy King. He was what we thought Anthony Joshua was.
Was going to be.
Was going to be, exactly.
Y'all thought that?
Well,
yeah.
the promotion was behind Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, but Tyson Fury had other plans.
Yeah, Tyson Fury was in the background just licking his chops, just waiting for him for his opportunity. And he did exactly what he was supposed to do when he got that opportunity.
And you can never write off Fury because he had one amazing comeback before.
Yes,
he was
he
over
did.
400 pounds after beating Klitschko, and he came back and regained his spot.
Tyson Fury would have to do something that would make people believe that maybe a third fight with Usyk would be any different.
But if anybody can do it, though, Max, it's the Gypsy
Hit that
King.
button, Shady.
All right. What we got? Who is it?
Spinning and spinning. All right, enough with the spinning already.
Oh, he's a
that's
bad
the king.
man. Ooh.
Heavyweight king. That's the heavyweight king. Alexander Usyk.
That's a bad man.
Should next fight who? Who should Usyk fight next?
You know what? It's not that he should, but it'll be fun. It'll be a fun fight to watch him fight someone like Andy Ruiz.
Okay.
You know, that'd be a fun fight.
What do you have against Andy Ruiz? I know you fought him once.
He's a great fighter. He's a great fighter.
Yeah.
He's a great fighter. He has fast hands, and he hits hard. I'm telling you.
He hits hard.
I didn't stay in that pocket because, those punches, I felt
You're regaining points with the Mexican fan base. I like it.
Hey. So he deserves it.
Don't try to put him in a corner. He just speaks the truth.
That's right.
Did you say Anthony Joshua?
Who said Anthony Joshua?
You want to see Anthony Joshua fight Usyk?
No one said that.
Because I would have walked off this
They already
desk.
fought twice. Who's saying that?
I was making sure, because y'all love him on this desk.
You hearing things?
I would have left this desk.
You got hit by too many safeties, man. What's going on? I didn't say anything about
I thought
Anthony Joshua.
y'all was about to say, we're good, though.
All right.
We're good.
All right, no, well, hold on. Who should Usyk fight next?
I don't mind that. I don't mind that, Chris.
Guys.
All right, I know who I want to see, Max.
Say it.
I want to see the German, Agi Kabayel. He's on a great stretch right now. Shady disrespected him, not even having him on the screen with your button. But Kabayel just stops Zhang with brutal body shots. Got up from a knockdown in that fight in February. Yeah. Knocked out Frank Sanchez, who many people in boxing were really behind. Knocked out Makhmudov. He's on a great stretch right now. He has a personality, and German is a great boxing market that's really been forgotten about.
Okay, let me tell you who I think is interesting. And everyone's going to say it's a fight too soon. But not only did Turki Al-Sheikh tweet about this, Larry Merchant also mentioned it. And the reason they did is not because it has to happen next, but if everyone stops fronting, we can admit what we're thinking after Moses Itama's last performance, which is, and man, it might be too soon for Itauma if you want to put him in with Usyk. But then again, the fight is actually made. I dare anyone right now to tell me a heavyweight fight they would rather see. Don't try to guide a dude's career. Don't try to get a win for Itauma. Don't try to pass the torch at the right time. Just tell me a heavyweight fight you would rather see today than Usyk defending the crown against Moses Itauma, because there's not one that I can think of.
If you're talking about pure intrigue, Max, I think you're right. I think there's no fight that would get people talking more in boxing. They would say, is it too soon? Can Itauma pull it off? It would be an explosive fight. Two fighters with very fast hands.
Maybe if it is too soon, it don't matter. Itauma is young enough that even if he does lose, he has more than enough time to regain it.
Why do we always have to also handle a fighter just so that he winds up undefeated by the time he gets to the title? Yeah. Maybe he can beat Usyk. Yep. Maybe it turns out that Itauma actually is a great fighter and not just a flashy young fighter with power. Or maybe he learned something in an Usyk loss that he then turns him into a great fighter. What are we so afraid of?
I would like to see. I just think Usyk right now is the pound for pound god right now, and it's like you go from a Canelo and Terrence Crawford fight to what's going to match that?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's hard to really.
It'll be a bigger fight down the road. It's true if Itauma keeps winning. All right, hit that thing again.
Okay, let's go. Let's get hot. What we got? Come on, Deontay Wilder. We need a brother on there. Oh, we got a brother on there.
Deontay Wilder versus Andy Ruiz Jr. Intriguing or not?
I like it. Bomb Squad. Yeah. Listen, we got to be honest here. When Deontay Wilder was hitting people and knocking them out, that was exciting for boxing. Bring it back. You say how Anthony hit hard. Let's find out.
So did Wilder. He knocked me down a couple times too. So yeah.
Hey, you my boy. I ain't want to say that. You my boy.
Who hits harder?
Oh, Andy. For sure.
Andy hits harder.
Come on, man.
Hey, even though I dropped Andy, Andy still hits harder. And the reason I say is he has fast hands. His combinations are, and he's strong. He's strong as heck. He's low to the bottom. Wilder, the only shot he has.
Right hand.
Oh, right hand.
But he has to get you on the end of the punch.
But
if he smothers you, he ain't gonna hit that hard.
That's interesting what he's saying about the end of the punch. If I'm thinking about, if someone said, tell me the hardest shot in the history of boxing, Wilder's on a short list for me, but it has to be the right hand and it has to hit you just right. Yeah. He has a Tommy Hearns right hand when he hits you just right.
I'm sorry, Klitschko hit harder
than Wilder.
Oh, for sure. He had
he's
a
been
man.
in with some good fights. Right. Intrigued or not?
I am intrigued, Max, but I would have been much more intrigued if it would have happened 3 years ago when you and I were talking about this fight on ESPN.
Yeah.
That was when that fight was at its peak.
The thing is, though, and you just got to give it up sometimes. Yes, it would have been better then. Yes, Deontay's lost recently, and it's past its due date and all that stuff. If that's on, you're watching.
I'll watch it.
But
I'll
if the
That's
bomb squad shows up
That's an
and he connects
entertaining
the
fight.
overhand right, you're going to love that fight.
I like Ruiz in that fight, actually.
By the way, there are a couple heavyweights that weren't on that wheel. You mentioned one.
Yep,
Kabayel, who has some really big wins recently.
Yeah.
Jalalov, look, he's one of these dudes. Do you want him to be dominant? He's not the most exciting fighter in the world. He's 6'7".
That jab.
He's got a long, maybe he might be taller than that. He got a long jab. He's a southpaw. He can punch.
Ugh.
He's got 2 Olympic gold medals.
Ugh.
No one wants to fight him for obvious reasons. And if you looked around the division and said, not who you want to be the best fighter, like Itauma would be really exciting. The dude who just might beat everybody, if given the chance, might be Jalalov.
Max, you're making a lot of great points today. I don't know what's going on, but
I don't know. It's a Monday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
But look,
do we have any more buttons?
That Jalalov, that gold medal match against Richard Torres, that was a great fight. That was exciting, and it showed you the kind of chops Jalalov has.
Why don't we hit that one more?
Ready for this, Mike? Hit it. Oh, I'm lying.
Oh,
Not your job.
Not today.
Let's get it popping.
Can't believe I fell for that one, Shady.
And there's that dude.
Okay.
Will Moses Itauma still be undefeated at the age of 25? Hold on. How old is he? He's
20 right now.
25 years.
Yeah.
That's very hard to do
I believe
in the
in
heavyweight
Moses.
division. That is very hard to do in the heavyweight division. The guys are he's the youngest top 10 heavyweight since Mike Tyson, but people, it's a heavyweight hitting a heavyweight is not proportionally like a lightweight hitting a lightweight. Right. The human body is constructed in such a way that the force that a heavyweight can generate when it hits you on the head, you're not meant to take that type of force, right? Heavyweights, I remember an article on Mike Tyson in a boxing magazine, and I'm a kid, right? Buying boxing magazine off the newsstands, we're going back. And it's doing a fantasy about Mike Tyson's career. What's it going to look like? Because Tyson was the youngest heavyweight champ. He was knocking out everyone. And I remember there was a line about, hey, we want to buy the rights to your first 10 title defenses. And someone said, what's wrong with the last 5? As though he made 15 title defenses, like someone looking back. And I thought, they only think Tyson's going to make 15 title defenses? He's going to make more than that. He wound up making 9, right? Like of the title. I know it feels like Itauma's really young, and if he's great, 25, that's only 5 years. That is a long way to go in the heavyweight division.
I think what we're really asking here, Max, is will Moses Itauma be protected? And I think the answer is no, by the way I've seen his career handled so far. Dillian White, way past it, but a very reasonable fight, I think, for 20 years old. Now, if we see Moses fight the Parkers, the Kabayels, even Usyk obviously is at the top of that over the next 12, 18 months, I think it's going to be hard to be undefeated by 25.
If you're right, and they're going to just throw him into the fire, and he is undefeated at 25, we're talking about a legitimate all-time great heavyweight champion.
But with a champ, do you want to, I guess the narrative of his career, right? He's still young. Do you want to slowly bring him along or just throw him out there?
I mean, he's sometimes you're so good. Again, I'll go back to Mike Tyson because he draws comparisons to Tyson for a couple reasons. One, he's young, and Tyson was a prodigy, very young.
Man, young.
2, for this heavyweight era, he's not tall or especially big, and that was true of Tyson also, although Tyson weighed more or less what his opponents weighed. And 3, he has very fast hands and real punching power, and that was what made Tyson quick with the punching power. Tyson there was a heavyweight tournament that originally didn't include Mike Tyson that he developed so quickly that they had to put him in the tournament, right? And Itauma, I think that's one of the reasons Turkey's mentioned it, and Larry Merchant liked it, and a lot of people, and I like it, is that you see like there is more development to go that's only going to happen by fighting good fighters. So why not start?
And Max, fighters in boxing know how good Itauma is because behind the scenes, fighters right now, I keep hearing all the time that they're asking for astronomical money to fight Moses Itauma. They know who they're facing.
One thing about Itauma, like, he doesn't know how to lose. You don't know. He doesn't know how to lose. Like they say, you're too dumb for your own good. That's the way it is. He doesn't know how to lose.
Could Usyk teach him how to lose?
I don't think he can. But
Usyk can't teach him how to lose?
But he hasn't yet.
So
but
Usyk
can he? Yes, of course. Anybody could teach someone how to lose.
If Usyk fought Itauma and they announce the fight. It's going to happen in 4 months. Who's going to win that
What you
fight?
saying, Chris? What you saying
I'll
now?
take Usyk, of course, but Itauma he's still a live dog in there. Again, because he believes in himself and he believes that he's not going to lose.
Live dog against Usyk. Everyone's a dog against Usyk. Who's a live dog? Itauma's one of the live dogs against Usyk. You got any more spins in that button?
We got any more? What we got? All right, one more for you.
Yep.
Let's see what we got.
Oh,
Joseph Parker.
Joseph.
Joseph Parker the biggest
love
threat
Joseph.
to Usyk's reign in the heavyweight division? Is he? Is he the biggest threat?
I think so.
I think so,
You know
too.
what, man? He's had two. He has a couple losses, and the losses that he had, he has learned from it. He's on a good winning streak. I'm a fan of Joseph. I'm a big fan of Joseph Parker, especially when he beat Andy Ruiz. So I'm a fan. I believe that he has what he.
Parker
the
came
skills.
up as a real
he did.
prospect,
Yep.
an
Yeah.
exciting, aggressive prospect.
he got power and he can box.
Yeah.
Yes.
And here's the other thing about Parker not getting a real title shot. That means that Usyk. There's one heavyweight champion, it's Usyk.
Yeah.
Either you get your shot against him or you don't. There's a sense that people who advocate for Parker getting the title shot don't really believe he can win. So if you ask people, should he get the shot? Yes, he should get the shot. Who's going to win? Usyk. Right. So that kind of takes the shot, as opposed to Itauma, who's going to win? Usyk, but maybe Itauma, right? They don't feel the same way about Parker. The problem with that, and there's so many examples of this, is guys like, so what happens is the public says, that's just media guys trying to do the right thing by a fighter, but they see what we see, and I don't want to see a fight where I already know who's going to win. The problem with that is, once upon a time, there's a dude named Vernon Forrest, who's a really good welterweight contender.
Yeah.
Shane Mosley became champion by beating Oscar De La Hoya. So a lot of people, like me, were saying, hey, Vernon Forrest should get a shot at Shane Mosley. But the public's there going, who's going to win? And everyone said Shane Mosley, but guess who won? Vernon Forrest won, right? These guys have got to get the opportunity that they've earned.
And he can pull up an upset.
Yes, he can.
And he has earned it. You're right, man.
However, who's picking Joseph Parker to beat Usyk? Anyone?
His mama.
And that's why people notice that. All right, hit that thing again. Come on.
A little harder for better results. Hey, I like the beat there. Oh, hey.
There he is.
Your favorite
Anthony
fighter,
Joshua.
Shady's favorite.
Will Anthony Joshua be a top 3 heavyweight in his career again? Shady McCoy.
We can't curse. F no. I don't see it. I've been watching this dude. I've been trying to figure out what's all the hype about. Maybe you experts can tell me. Because when I watch him fight, I don't see it. I see a lot of muscles like Tarzan, and he fights like who, Chris?
Jane.
Talk to me.
You think Anthony Joshua fights like Jane?
Okay.
Let's be real.
When I say that, when Jane's about to get in a fight, when Tarzan like about to hit her, she's gonna flinch.
No, Tarzan and Jane were on the same side.
I understand that.
Going somewhere.
But what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is,
your Tarzan gonna be locked up, dog.
Tarzan's gonna be doing some time. But what I'm saying is that, Jane's gonna flinch. Tarzan's not gonna flinch. Mm-hmm. That's when I say when I call Anthony Joshua that he fights like Jane, because there's too much flinching, there's too much scared in him. I think after Ruiz got hit him a couple times, after that fight, he fights very scared, very timid. If he throws a jab like this.
Come on now.
So you're saying since the Ruiz fight?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what we can't forget?
But not before.
Even before that,
everybody likes to forget.
Scared.
After the Ruiz fight, Joshua gave Usyk all he could handle in that first fight, that first bout.
You guys are sleeping on Anthony Joshua.
Yes.
First of all, he's an Olympic gold medalist who knocked out Vladimir Klitschko.
Yeah.
Even though that wasn't technically a passing of the torch in a larger way, it really was. And I'd never seen a heavyweight torch be passed quite like that, by knockout in a fight where both guys hit the deck. He defends against Joseph Parker, he wins. Even against Ruiz in a fight he lost, he had Ruiz on the deck. I give credit for Ruiz for getting up from a fight. It looked like he's about to lose by
monster
knockout.
shot.
Yeah.
By knockout, guys.
Yeah.
Klitschko, you know how long ago that
Anthony
was?
Joshua was never going to be a long-term dominant champion. He's always going to be a guy, because he's vulnerable, because he didn't have a deep amateur background, who was going to be in exciting back-and-forth fights. That's the kind of fights he's been in.
So your answer is no.
What Anthony Joshua was meant for boxing in the UK and boxing as a whole, how many stadiums has he sold out now?
There's a reason for that. You can't hype that into existence. Either the fans are connecting with you or they're not.
I mean, they were also being sold on the guy, the gold medal guy.
Hey,
the guy
Ollie Harrison won a gold medal. He didn't pan out.
Yeah, Ollie Harris, another guy. You know what I
There's
mean?
a lot of guys that have won gold medals that didn't pan out.
Is it a European thing then? Is it a European?
Anthony Joshua has earned a spot in the Boxing Hall of Fame one day.
Yes,
You
correct.
guys are a rough crowd. Hit that thing again.
So wait, you didn't answer. No?
Top 3 heavyweight in his career again? Yeah, it could happen. Could happen.
Oh, come on, man.
It could happen.
You telling me?
Yeah, especially if there's a champion. I'm taking the button and I'm hitting it.
Hit it. Zhang.
Big
Bang.
bang, Zhang.
After the Kabayel defeat, should
Give me my clicker back.
Zhang focus on boxing or the restaurant business? He opened a Chinese barbecue joint in New York.
It's probably
which
slamming.
I love to see
I
that.
might
I love to
try
see
that.
fighters
Max, are
investing
you going
money.
to go?
I will absolutely go.
All right.
To Zhang's restaurant, of course. There he is.
Okay, I see you.
Okay, what do you think?
Businessman, huh?
Zhang, should he get into the restaurant business, get out of boxing? Chris, is it time?
You know what? Who am I to judge, man? I would still keep trying to fight if I had his built and his popularity. So yeah, why not make a little bit more money, man? And I'll still come to his restaurant.
Because you gotta sell a lot of food to make the money you can in a
Exactly,
heavyweight
there's a big
fight,
difference.
right? What do you think?
I would keep fighting though, right? And then make more money, then buy more restaurants. Right?
Yeah, and look, Zhang did drop Kabayel in that fight before he got stopped ultimately later in the bout, and there's been a lot of talk over the years, and I want to see it happen, of a big fight in China. Great market.
Yep.
Boxing is
Huge
massive in
market.
Japan, but what about Zhang in China against somebody like Joshua, Tyson Fury? I want to see that before he
The
goes.
winner of Joshua Fury?
Y'all just keep doing it. Y'all just keep
Another
doing
thing,
it.
you
Huh?
can't teach size.
Can't.
He's a big man. You can't teach size.
All right. Listen, keep it right here. We'll be right back on Inside the Ring.
Hey, listen up. Let's have it. We know you've always got your eye on the prize, the championship belt. And why wouldn't you? You're a finely tuned, well-oiled boxing watching machine, capable of consuming over 185 fights on the zone every year.
We've gone big. We've gone global.
Churning through combinations, comebacks, and non-stop knockouts. With big fights every week, you're the best in the world. So go on, get that belt, champ. The Zone, undisputed.
Welcome back to Inside the Ring. You know, historically, when you talk about which countries produce the most dominant boxers, you think the United States, right? It's been very U.S. centric for most of its history. Mexico. What's interesting nowadays, what is so funny? What is so funny? What is
This guy.
Hey, man.
All right. Japan has been on the rise, man. There have been some boxing hotbeds. We've mentioned England earlier in the show. You get like punchers coming out of Colombia, but Japan has produced some, Ukraine obviously, Japan has produced some dominant fighters who are active right now. And of course, none bigger than the monster. Or smaller, but bigger in stature, metaphorically than the monster, who a lot of people have number one pound for pound. He's been number one pound for pound on various lists, and right now is 3 on the rings rankings because it is brutal at the top with Crawford and Usyk. It's been made official. The monster will be taking on David Picasso, right? Cop, before we get to what could be down the line should he win, let's get into this matchup. What do you think about Inoue Picasso?
I think it's a really intriguing matchup, Max. David Picasso, very young fighter, building up a big following in Mexico, and he comes to fight like most Mexicans. Explosive puncher, quick on his feet, and I like it. I think Picasso, he has a chance to be a real attraction in Mexico. He's going to have to at least come through this fight in a good effort and have his moments.
Yeah, can he paint a masterpiece? I mean, it's going to be really, you have to with Inoue, and it feels to me like it's going to have to be someone with pop who does it to Inoue. Someone who can not only box and defend themselves from his attacks, which are blistering and sudden, right? But someone who can not just get his respect, but maybe hurt him coming in. He has been dropped before, Chris.
What I like about Inoue, that he's fighting.
Yeah.
That he's fighting like so much. And what the good thing about that it helps in his boxing ability. His boxing is just reaching another level because he's just sharpening iron with iron. The amount that he fights so much.
Yeah, Chris, great point. I mean, when's the last time we've seen a fighter on Inoue's level fight 4 times in 1 year?
It's
Four
crazy.
times.
Crazy.
Let alone 3 times is unheard of in this era.
And
4 times.
He's not ducking anyone. He's not cherry picking. He's not deciding this is the right time to fight a guy. And there's a difference, and I mentioned this with Crawford and Mayweather, how Floyd has a much deeper resume than Crawford, but people remember that Floyd waited on certain guys and that Crawford wanted it with everyone. Inoue, well, Donaire, toward the end of his career, gave Inoue all he could handle in a fight of the year type fight. What would he have done if he's younger? What about the? You can always do nitpick with any fighter's resume. But what people will remember is not only did Inoue not lose a fight through all of this so far, through all these weight divisions, all these top fighters, he didn't cherry pick. He didn't fight when this guy was ripe for the picking. He just said, "Bring him, let's go."
And this could be a good fight. And also, I think with Inoue, he fights like you guys talk about being active, but he's a lot of offense, right? And guys, there's a lot of offense. Sometimes he gets clipped, and he's had times where he's been dropped. So it's gonna be a good fight. I just think he is so special, and his time is now.
Yeah. This fight also on DAZN, by the way. So what's next for both Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, right? Crawford finally got his flowers from the mainstream.
That's right.
And now it's either retire or cash in. Given that circumstance, I can think, Andre Ward walked away when it looked like it was time to cash in, right? Very few have ever done. Gene Tunney walked away when it looked like it was time to cash in. I'm going back to the 1920s.
But you think it's like this? You beat the face of boxing? He got to cash out. He going to cash out. At least 2 good fights.
He's 38 years old, guys.
He looked 28.
I agree. I think it's unlikely he retires, right? It's much more likely he fights at least twice more.
I know what I want to see.
What's that?
And I want to see the rematch. I mean, let's face it. There's
You're the
no
only one.
There's no fight out there for either guy that's nearly as big. We're talking about a fight that just at 70,000 plus at the stadium for the Raiders.
Do you think the rematch would go any
over
different?
41 million
would the
viewers on
rematch
Netflix?
be any different?
I'm not saying it would be different. I would pick Crawford in the rematch after I got it wrong.
As a piece of business, you think?
Yes, and as a piece of, we've seen fights that are much less competitive get big rematches.
But no, actually, Canelo could probably do a similar gate with someone else. Crawford maybe not. But if you're Canelo, why firmly establish that you just can't beat this guy?
He already lost once anyway. What's another loss?
Yep. Smaller guy. I won't do it.
I mean, as I said, with Tyson Fury, for example, he loses to Usyk once. The fact that they have an immediate rematch and then he loses again,
that was fair.
It takes something off of the shine, right? There's no, and Canelo, if he just doesn't fight Crawford again, can go on and have a million other big fights.
His legacy is sealed.
I mean, look, we mentioned earlier in the show, we mentioned Crawford, maybe Eubank. That would be big for Crawford in England.
That'd be a fun fight.
Yep. Absolutely.
And another storyline, Eubank's training for this rematch with Brian Bomac McIntyre,
right?
Who doesn't get enough credit as a great trainer, by the way.
I was going to say that. Right. Why a change of trainer if he won the last fight?
That struck me as surprising.
Why would he change trainers?
Well, it was a tougher fight than it was supposed to be.
Yeah. And I heard he wanted Bomac before the fight, just that they couldn't.
They trained there. They've worked together many times in the past.
I will say this though, and we talking about just Crawford and Canelo. I think it's a perfect matchup, right? They sold out 70,000. Okay, the first fight.
You want to see a rematch also?
I wouldn't mind it, because that's the question you got to ask yourself, right? The better question is, who can you see Canelo fighting again that's going to be a big draw, and who can you see Crawford fighting that's a big draw?
I think whoever Canelo fights, especially if it's a named fighter, will be a big draw.
After a loss, do you want to really?
Yeah, and I also think, look, if they make the rematch, will we all be interested? We'll be talking about it on the show.
Yeah.
Will we twist ourselves into knots by the time the fight comes around and say why Canelo could maybe win? Yes. And it's not because a lot of fans think, because you guys are promoting no, it's because if you have enough time to think about a contest,
right?
You can convince yourself just to fill up the time. You're thinking about it a lot. Well, here's a way. You start using your imagination. Canelo was only, Crawford had to win the last 2 rounds to get the decision.
And they're both great fighters, so you can always.
But I would be more interested in them fighting other guys at this point. I would be in both of those guys fighting other opponents instead of each other again. Both of them. Yeah, I'm the only one. What about you? You want to see a rematch, or you want
to watch rematch?
So I'm in the minority.
Rematch.
And Netflix is gonna get involved again. It's gonna be a lot of money. You're gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. We all gonna be there.
I'll be calling it. All right, something else to think about, guys. Floyd Mayweather hinted at coming out of retirement, right?
Don't care.
No.
Oh,
No.
whoa. When the GOAT
I
talks,
don't want to
hold on.
know, because what is the retirement? It's going to be him fighting in exhibition fights or crossover fights? Is it going to be real
It
fights?
ain't going to be Terrence Crawford.
That's what I'm saying. Then I would be
By
interested.
the way, here's the other thing. And this is what I mean about Floyd. And people, it's funny because I get a lot of social media stuff about they think I'm anti one fighter or pro one fighter when you point out the pros and cons, the antis and the pros for fighters. I loved watching Floyd throughout his whole career.
All-time great.
I defended him frequently in the media against people who said he was boring. As early as 1998, and Mark Ortega can go pull the video, on ESPN, I had Floyd second pound for pound. Second pound for pound in 98 behind only Roy Jones. Right? I love watching Floyd, but we have to tell the truth. Once he left lightweight, he did a lot of great things. He had 2 Hall of Fame careers after he left lightweight, right? Mm-hmm. But the fact is he was careful about when he fought guys. I do not believe if Crawford was around that Floyd would have fought him.
Nope.
And I'm not saying that Crawford beats Floyd. I don't know who wins that fight. That's a hell of a fight. Floyd's faster. He's got a better defense. But I don't think that fight would have ever happened, is the point.
And just let's be, again, Mayweather, no disrespect at all to him. He's one of my favorite fighters growing up. Love watching him fight. Perhaps the greatest boxing business person of all time.
Yeah.
Look at actual boxers in the business. But I don't want to see many fighters come out of retirement. He's done everything he can do. He's one of the best fighters of all time. Stay retired.
I guess it don't be a real fight. If it's a real fight, then maybe. Depends who it is.
He's 48 years old.
I mean, but it's the fact that it's Floyd Mayweather fighting though.
We watched Tyson fight. Right. He was a senior.
Yeah.
We watched him fight.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. But we still watched. There was still a lot of people that
I wasn't excited to watch it.
But we watched.
But you watched it.
You know, if Floyd fought someone, some kind of YouTuber or some, I don't know, some shit, we'll probably watch it.
I'm not staying home to watch it. I'll watch it if I'll catch on to it.
I'm not watching that.
I'll stream it. I'll
watch the fight.
One thing you know about Floyd is if he comes back out of retirement, he will win that fight.
Yep.
Because Floyd technically knows more about boxing. Let's put it this way. No one who ever lived knows more than Floyd about boxing.
I agree with that.
Right? Technically.
I agree with that.
He knows the best you're going to be able to do is match him, and probably very few who ever lived could do that. So before he fights someone, he watches them and goes, that guy can't beat me, right? And that's why he fights them.
Right. So this is not the Mike Tyson. I'm hearing the Mike Tyson and Floyd. Is it that fight?
I mean,
is that what we're talking about?
But that's not.
'Cause I don't want to see that.
That's not a professional fight. Mike Tyson is part of the problem with not creating new characters, at least in the United States, that people care about in boxing, is that people will watch Mike Tyson forever because they know who he is. People love boxing, but they don't know it, right? Because you have to be attached to a character to care about it.
Right.
They know Mike Tyson. So that's the way people express their interest in boxing is when Mike Tyson fights an exhibition. Oh, I know that guy. I want to see him.
You're right. When the NFL, when Tom Brady leaves, Mahomes comes in, right? There's always replenishment.
Right.
See,
You know the characters.
And now that I think about it, like, everyone watched Mike Tyson because we wanted to see a knockout.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone watched Floyd because we wanted to see him lose.
Right.
Or you wanted to see greatness.
Yeah.
Or just something you want to see.
Yeah.
That's why I said, so Floyd comes out of retirement from all the reasons you guys just said. People are going to watch it. The same way why we all watched Tyson bite his glove for, 12 rounds with Jake Paul. It's because the name.
Floyd, I wouldn't say everyone
Luckily,
wanted
that
to
was
see
only
him
8
lose.
rounds.
I would say Floyd had 2 people coming out to watch him. The crowd who couldn't stand him, who wanted to see him maybe get beaten.
Facts.
And the people who, and Floyd was, the attempt was to market him as the next Sugar Ray Leonard or Oscar De La Hoya early. And that wasn't Floyd.
No, that
right?
wasn't.
And not only that, there was already a guy cast in that role who was Oscar. Floyd wanted to do his thing. And the sense at the time was you can't have an urban, read black, fighter in this country as the face of boxing if he's not a heavyweight or not a puncher or not willing to play the golden boy, right? If he's saying, no, this is who I am, and it looks urban to people, quote unquote. Right. And Floyd disproved that. He became the biggest money generator in boxing, being himself. So yes, a lot of people showed up to see him lose, but as Mike said, a lot of people showed up to watch him prove the point that it doesn't matter what the mainstream wants. What matters is what's real, and the reality is he's better than the other guy.
That's right.
I mean, a lot of people watch that too.
Every barbershop, every ghetto, every hood was watching Floyd Mayweather, and they was going for him. You know how I know that, Chris? You know how I know that? Because I was one of them, baby. Because I was one of them,
Getting
baby.
lined
Floyd,
up.
Mother, Mayweather. Watch
money.
that.
Coming up, I answer your questions on Ask Max. Keep it right here inside.
Hey,
the
make
ring.
sure y'all fry him too. Don't take it easy on Max today.
Come and try.
But Anthony R, he fears no man. He wants David Benavidez, and there's not a lot of fighters in the world that do.
Body shot from Yard. Shot to the head, down he goes. Solid shot, right hand.
Anthony Yard.
Bad blood. Genuine hatred. Chris or Connor. This fight living up to all the hype.
Chris Eubank Jr.
Oh, gosh.
Exactly the fight he wants. Tonight, he'd be fantastic. It was just a matter of time. And that is the shot he was looking for. Oh, great featherweight, good shot. And we will see him in the semifinal.
This place has just come alive. This is extraordinary. It's bizarre. It's mad. What a shot from Joe Parker. Round one KO. Fabio Wardley's done it.
All right, guys, every time I do a show, a boxing show, welcome back to Inside the Ring, Max Kellerman, Mike Coppinger, Shady McCoy, and Chris Arreola. I always have to do some version of this where I'm responding to social media or emails or whatever to the Max. Max me anything. On this show, it's called Ask Max. So your social media questions and my responses. Ready? I'm talking to this camera. I'm guessing, or I'm guessing I'm over here. All right. I take your questions from fans of the show. Sometimes fans, sometimes enemies or frenemies or something, but maybe not so much fans. All right. You notice this is not called Ask Mike, right? Have you noticed this? Or Hot Mike or anything like that?
Hot Mike, yeah.
Whatever
Could be
it is.
good.
Yeah, right. Could be. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. All right, let's go. First up. Let's see. What's the real championship? Ring or lineal? That's a great question. I always say Ring Magazine, meaning the real champion. Sometimes the championship is not undisputed, right? But a sanctioning body does not have the legitimacy or the authority to dispute a championship. But a lineal claim could be there. A guy has never lost, like Tyson Fury, never lost the championship, but retired and came back and still had a lineal claim. Hey, I was the champ and I never lost it in the ring, right? And then a consensus forms around someone else. And now you have kind of maybe even Ring Magazine winds up in it. Now you have a lineal champ and a Ring Magazine champ. By the way, that was basically what happened with Ali Frazier 1. Ali had never lost it in the ring. He got stripped of his license to fight. In the interim, Frazier put all the belts together. Nowadays, that would be the Ring Magazine champion. And then you had a lineal guy in Ali and essentially the ring champion in Frazier.
And one more for you, Max. Michael Spinks and Mike Tyson. Spinks was the lineal champ.
And Tyson had put the belts together. That's right. Okay, this is called Ask Max. Just in case. I don't know what he's doing.
So with Charlo,
all right, let's go.
If he won
Next
the
up.
134?
Does the Crawford loss affect Canelo's legacy? I mean, it affects it in the sense that had he won, it's a zero-sum game. Had he won, his legacy would have been enhanced. Although people would have said he beat a smaller fighter, but he lost. What that does is put Canelo in the following light. When he fought the best fighters who could also box, who could also move of his era, he lost. I don't mean he had trouble with Lara and the fight could have gone any way, or Austin, either way, or Austin Trout and it was competitive. I mean when he fought Floyd Mayweather, pre-prime, he was pre-prime, fought Floyd Mayweather, he lost. When he fought Dimitri Bivol, who actually is a naturally larger fighter and in his prime, and Canelo maybe was towards the tail end of his, he lost. And when he fought Terence Crawford, who, largely because he beat Canelo, is considered an all-time great, he lost. That means that Canelo probably won't be remembered in the conversation for who is the greatest fighter of all time, right? Yeah. Floyd, people put Floyd's name in, Sugar Ray Robinson, Muhammad Ali, that kind of niche. But he is an all-time great Canelo Alvarez, of course.
It gets affected, though, for sure. The resume.
It would have been enhanced had he won. Let's put it that way, and he didn't. All right, next up.
Yeah, for sure.
What's your favorite boxing movie? If you haven't seen The Fighter, that's the one. That is incorrect. Let me tell you, there's a correct answer to this question, and a lot of people get it wrong. The greatest boxing movie ever is also one of the greatest movies ever made. It is Rocky III. That's right, Rocky III.
That's right. And Rocky's real, too.
Rocky's
real in Philadelphia.
Rocky was a great movie, and it won the. Did it win the Academy Award? But it was
the first one did.
The first one did, and it was considered a great movie. And people couldn't reconcile the fact that Rocky was an underdog movie, and by the time Rocky 3 came out, it was basically a cop buddy movie.
Yeah.
They weren't cops, but it was basically Apollo and Rocky were cops.
Raging Bull, yes, that is the correct answer. Correct answer.
I'll tell you why. Because honestly, they depict the struggle of a boxer.
A real boxer.
How crazy we are. We're fucking nuts.
Yeah.
We're crazy. Talk crazy to our wives, talk crazy to our friends, talk crazy to your brother-in-law because you think, man, we are nuts.
Rocky was crazy.
No, but what he means, so here's the thing.
Rocky was real, man.
Raging Bull is one of the greatest movies ever made. And especially if you have Scorsese and De Niro and Joe Pesci, and you film it in black and white, people can take it seriously as a great film. The problem with Rocky 3 is it takes someone who's very secure about themselves to acknowledge that it's actually a great movie. Clubber Lang is the greatest anti-hero. Clubber Lang's the greatest anti-hero along with Darth Vader and Hannibal Lecter in the history of film, right? By the way, Rocky 3, Clubber didn't do anything wrong. Clubber fought his way to the title, didn't say a thing, right? And then once he earned the number one shot and the number one contender and he was ducked, that's when he started talking. He earned the right to start talking. He had the eye of the tiger. He didn't want to talk to the reporters in the dressing room. For the rematch, even though he looked tough, when they came up with what's your prediction? Pain, right? He was talking tough, but the point is he was talking. What happened to the guy who didn't even want to talk to the reporters?
That's right.
He lost the eye of the tiger. Even listen to the theme song. It explains the whole thing right there.
I can tell you,
it's actually the story of Clubber Lang. It's not even the story of Rocky.
It's the story of Hulk Hogan, because fun facts, Max, Vince McMahon saw the movie and was like, wow, this guy Hulk Hogan, that's the guy that's going to take my wrestling league to the max.
I remember back then, Bob Backlund was the heavyweight champion. It was boring. I mean, he was technically good, it was boring. As soon as that movie came out, they were like, Hulk Hogan's got to be champ, right? He's got to be champ.
Can we do one thing?
What?
Maybe one of these weekends, I'm going to take y'all to South Philadelphia, and then after that, we're going to go see the Rocky statue, because Rocky's real in Philadelphia.
I'll race you up that statue.
One last thing about Rocky 3.
Like 5 seconds.
Because I could do a whole show on Rocky 3. One last thing about Rocky 3. If you ever study film, the first 10 minutes got to set up the movie, okay? You tell me, watch 10 minutes of the movie. By the time the credits are done rolling, right? Do you care about the characters? Is the whole thing set up?
I got you.
Are you on the edge of your seat?
Right.
Do you kind of see what's coming? Do you know the hero, the obstacle in front of him, all that stuff? Come on, man. And by the way, Sylvester Stallone directed that one.
Yeah.
A masterpiece. All right. Do we have any more? Are we doing more or are we done? We're doing more? Okay. I can't read it from that far away.
This guy wrote a novel to you, Max.
Oh, right there.
Okay, here we go. I respect your opinion, Max, but Oscar is a legit 4-weight champion. Wrong. Floyd's a legit 4-weight champion. Arguably, I disagree. Canelo's a legit 4-weight champion. Nope. Look at the names on their resume. No, but guys, look, the point is not. I understand the point, which is these guys beat a lot of good fighters and they won belts in different divisions. But they were the champion of a certain sanctioning body. When I say champion, I'm trying to make an apples-to-apples comparison through boxing history. When Henry Armstrong became champion, when he was a 3-weight champion at the same time, the reason you have to give up your belt when you win a title in another weight class, that's the Henry Armstrong rule, because he was freezing out divisions, simultaneously holding belts. Oh, wow. Okay?
And he did it when there wasn't 17 weight classes.
But he did it. He was the champion of that division because he beat the only guy with a claim to be the champion of that division. That is very different than beating a great fighter or an excellent fighter in a certain weight class who's one or 3 or 4 guys who might claim to be champion. I'm talking about guys who were champions not of a sanctioning body, but of the world, who was the only guy in that weight class who you could look at and say, he was the champion of that division. He beat everybody or was the lineal champion. Crawford has now done that in 4 divisions. Pacquiao did it in 4 divisions. Floyd, people argue, did it in 4 divisions. I disagree because he made Canelo stipulate that they didn't weigh in at 154. I think it was 152 and a half. Okay. The junior middleweight division is defined as weight limit 154. If in the contract it is under that weight limit, it is not a junior middleweight fight. It is a catch-weight fight. And to prove this philosophically, why do you think that every weight division can have non-title fights except heavyweight? You can have a non-title fight as lightweight champ because theoretically you can stipulate in the contract that this is not actually for 135 pounds, it's for 134 pounds, it's for 137 pounds, right? Roberto Duran had 10 non-title fights here. The reason you can never have, literally, look it up, you can never have a heavyweight non-title fight is because since the weight class is unlimited, you are always fighting in the heavyweight division. Therefore, your title is always at stake. Therefore, you cannot have a non-title fight. Therefore, if it says in the contract you can't weigh more than 152.5 pounds, it is not a junior middleweight fight.
How could it be? Right.
Right. That's why I don't consider Floyd to have won the junior middleweight championship from Canelo Alvarez. Although you could argue, yeah, but Canelo was really the champion. It's a pound and a half. I get it. But that's why. Are we done?
No, we should
do I
have
have to do more of
we
these?
should have a segment called
Must I explain
Taking School.
everything to everyone all the time? It's exhausting. All right, real quick. Which potential boxing super fights in history never happened but you wish they had? To name a few, Leonard Pryor, it's a good one. Jones McClellan, good one. Lennox Lewis, Riddick Bowe, good one. I'll give you one. George Foreman and Larry Holmes would have been a great one, but Foreman retired when Holmes was coming up. I'll give you another one. Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao.
The main one.
They made it, but it was past the
main
due
one.
date.
I'll give you one, Max. Mike Tyson, George Foreman in the 90s when Foreman was on his comeback.
Hell, yeah, it
Two
would've been a
massive punchers.
At the time, I thought Foreman had no shot because he was older, but looking back at it,
And after the way Foreman fought Holyfield.
yeah.
Tyson Holyfield, the first one.
Yes.
But
before he went to jail.
Yes, but that fight actually did happen at a time where they're both still good.
Yeah.
Pacquiao and Mayweather.
That's the one for me.
That was not, those two dudes who fought were not the two dudes we wanted to see fight. We wanted to see those two dudes fight from 5 years before that.
Yeah, 2009, 2010.
Yes.
And if anybody ever argues about the Pacquiao and the Floyd when they did fight, you're always going to hear the same argument. Well, why they didn't fight when they both was at their prime?
Right. All right. Guys, that'll do it for Ask.
No more questions?
How many questions can I answer?
Yo, can
Let's sit here and
we
answer questions
change it
all day? What do you want
to Max take you to school, Max?
Yeah, that's right.
That's something better because you did a lot of teaching.
That's right. Class is in session. Gather round, children. Professor Kellerman. All right. Some quick highlights from this past weekend on DAZN. Gabriela Fundora stopped Alexis Kubicki in the 7th round to retain her Ring Magazine flyweight title. I gotta say, guys, Fundora is long and she catches you on the end of her shots. Sometimes in women's boxing, there's some good boxing, but there's not a lot of snap at the end of the punch to where you feel like there is a danger of a knockout at any moment. That is not the case with Gabriela Fundora. She catches her opponent on the end of dangerous
She looks just like her brother,
shots.
too.
She's also got a top-tier nickname in Sweet Poison. Sweet Poison. Dominated the fight from the opening bell. You could see her, she used the jab, the straight left hands. Ref stopped the fight in the 7th round. She entered the fight as the number 6 round pound-for-pound women's fighter in the world. And at 112-pounder who's 5'9".
Tall. Women's boxing is really taking a big step up, man. Carissa Shields, you talk about Katie, you talk about Serrano. These girls is really doing their thing.
One thing about girls, they scrap.
They tough.
They fight, man. Respects go out to them, but they beat the crap out of each other. They really don't hold.
Yeah.
They really don't hold that much.
Yeah, part of that is there are fewer female fighters, so there's less opportunity for female fighters to gain a lot of experience. Mm-hmm. And what you'll notice in any form of combat, even chess, is when you are less experienced, there's much more offense. If you watch two kids playing chess who really don't know what they're doing, they're throwing pieces at each other, right? And masters are, it's harder to see the fireworks. And I think that sometimes the more skillful female fighters get that criticism. Oh, that fight was boring because she was really boxing, right? But with less experience, you're going to get more offensive fights.
That's a good point.
In the main event, a few hours from here in India on DAZN, Ring Magazine strawweight champ Oscar Collazo defended his title against Filipino junior flyweight contender Jason Vazen, who was moving down in weight. The flyweight is above strawweight, right? So you got to move down as a junior flyweight. This was a really competitive fight. Vazen surprisingly having some big moments early on, hitting the deck from a cuffing shot later in round 1. Kept coming though, and it was a nip and tuck fight until Collazo started really breaking him down in the 7th round. Vazen's corner stopped the fight to the surprise of many. Collazo is intent on becoming the first undisputed champ in this weight class's history. Guys, he's already a big star in Puerto Rico, as evidenced by his appearance at a Bad Bunny concert earlier this year.
Oh, that's when you know you made it.
Bad Bunny got you up on
Bad Bunny?
stage. Yeah, and just a reminder, guys, DAZN doesn't just carry the big fight nights. Saturday night, DAZN carries 3 smaller shows from 3 different countries for all you hardcore diehards. Not high-card diehards. That would be ridiculous. Hardcore diehards. Ben Crocker, Sean McComb in Sheffield. McComb gave Arnold Barboza all he could handle. In Montreal, it's women's minimum weights. And in Mexico, it's women's light flyweights. All right, guys, that does it for this week's episode. For Chris Arreola, Mike Coppinger, and Shady McCoy, I'm Max Kellerman. Be sure to join us next week. Connor Benn will be joining us live via satellite. Boy, I tell you what, he was punching above his weight class for real in that first fight. That was a great fight. Don't miss it. It's Inside the Ring.
That's going to be a good fight.